Okay, that last video was a doozy, but so important. Really happy with the way the builder is set up. Let's go into the request, and we're going to start nailing down some more tests. So we've tested the happy path, we've tested bad verbs. Let's test bad paths. So our bad path request. Actually, let's test good paths, because that's what this is doing here. You get slash foo slash bar. But basically, your good path is going to be anything in the middle here. So test bad path, and well, that's not a valid test. Let's do this where we don't have a path. We just have get. And this should be we don't unwrap. Shoot, come on. Request, assert, good grief, assert. Request is error. And that fails, because it says a return request is going to be get, which is not, well, it is get, but it's setting the path to be not implemented. And like the reason why is because it always had to return a valid request. So the hope is that there's going to be a magic handler that is handling this not implemented string. And, imagine if somebody misspells it like that, not implemented, and you try to catch that error, and you glance over this phrase that says not implemented, and it's really not implemented, and you don't know why your code's working, because you made it possible for the developer to do something wrong. So the URI here there must be something in there. So the next really has to say okay or else, and we say that there is no URI found, and this will pass the test. So this basically says we have to get the second element out of parts, and there must be something there. And in the same way, we start to say, okay, well, we need that for the verb as well. Test no verb found, and that actually would work. This does pass, because the first one is space, and oh no, it says this is an error. Actually, I don't know if it's correct. I think it's actually failing on this URI, or it's failing on this part here. So let me change this to say if get next, okay, or else method found. No, we don't want unwrap or get. We just want to next on that. So does white space do multi-white space separated by any amount of white space? Okay. So in this case, like, I don't know, I think this is actually trying to get that last value. Let me just send that. It doesn't really matter, because we're just going to fix this. Like, we must have a method, we must have a URI, and we also, you can see the pattern here, we also must have a protocol. We're not going to unwrap, or we expect to get something valid. We must get something valid. We're not going to have this behave correctly for invalid clients. That's not our job. And that's not really a true statement, but let's go ahead and claim that. So I think actually here now our parse is able to, we actually would want to say then, let's do this, and should have no more parts left. Excuse me. Yeah. So let me make sure that we check for everything here. So for the first one, that's here. And I also want to assert that the request, the error, how do I get the error? Error unwrapped to string contains no method found. I think that will allow me to catch that that is why that part failed. In the same way, we're going to test this. It's not a great way to do it because we're kind of we have strings here. We could have like a constant string for what the error is going to be. And this actually is a good reason why you would want to have enumerated error values, so that we're not doing this in the implementation and test. But I'm not worrying about that right now. Test missing protocol. Copilot should be able to figure that out. No protocol found. And now test bad protocol name. And that's if we do that. Good. So, we have tests for each one of these things here to, and now these tests really define our probably higher level requirements to say that it's got to be a well-formed request. And the well-formed request would be a requirements decomposition to say it must have a method, it must have a URI, it must have a protocol. The protocol must be HTTP 1.1. And probably like the URI needs to be validated to have some known path, but we're not dealing with that. Oh, and the method must be one of these individual verbs. Okay. I like this. I think we're much better with our parsing. We have tests. We have many more tests. What do we have? We have 10 tests. Look at that. And some tests do multiple things. So I'm really happy with our testing right now. And that implementation that is not trying to make concessions now for something that is invalid to try to do the right thing. It just, there's so much code that is trying to fix bad requests. And sometimes you have to do that, but it's much better to fix the request or fix, the call to it than to try to assume what the person wanted. That's not good, but we're not handling posts. We're ignoring that for now. So yeah, let's close this out and kind of go through and see what we want to tackle next.